7742 Liberty.
Bagels and Joe is the best place to start off your mornings, and you can order your breakfast ahead of time on their app. February's cream cheese flavor is white chocolate raspberry. Pair it with a very berry chai. Stop by any of their 4 locations in Lincoln and their location in Seward. Bagels and Joe.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
The Omaha Supernovas are back in action this Wednesday, February 21st versus the Columbus Fury at the Nationwide Arena in Columbus. The Mullen Motors pregame show with Derek Pearson and Renee Saunders starts at 5 p.m. with first serve at 6. Make sure to tune in to the next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show right after the match ends. Catch all the action on your flagship station, 93.7 The Ticket, and statewide on the Supernovas Radio Network. Attention all Wings fans! 89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings.
I think it's just vapor.
Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as 1 pack of cigarettes.
My kid
knows it's dangerous.
5.4 million American kids vape, and most think it's harmless. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. That's talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
on the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Live from the heart of Lincoln, America. Welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello and welcome into the Daily Nebraskan show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. The Daily Nebraskan is UNL's only independent student newspaper. I'm Ben Droz, one of the sports writers at the Daily Nebraskan, and I'm joined here by Anthony Rubik and Marissa Cross, both of the assistant sports editors at the Daily Nebraskan. Guys, how are you doing today?
Doing well.
Yeah, doing well. How about you?
I'm hanging in there. You know, it's a Monday, so first show of the week. Gotta keep getting used to, staying up this way and doing a show. Has it been a month since we've been doing it every single night? I think we started first week in.
Yeah, I think so.
It's been like a month. I think we started. Maybe next week will be because we started right when school started. So I think that was like the 20th. So maybe next week will be a month. But isn't that crazy how time has flown?
Yeah, I know. It seems like just yesterday.
Yeah, man, it's been so much fun. And, we're not going on anywhere until, spring break probably, when we might take a couple days off because people need breaks. We need breaks too. We deserve them. But with that, we're going to start the show off with some Husker basketball talk, both men's and women's. Men's basketball played Penn State over the weekend, got a big win over Penn State. Nebraska needs to keep grinding out those wins. And then women's team is going to be playing breaking on the team tomorrow. Northwestern. I think, yeah, that sounds right. I didn't have the schedule pulled out, and then I had a brain fart. Yeah, they play Northwestern tomorrow. We're definitely have instant recap after that game. We'll have one of the writer who's covering that game. We'll have him call in, So that'll be fun for tomorrow's show. But first, we kind of want to preview that game and then kind of recap what happened with the men's team. So we're first kind of touch on men's basketball. I'm not going to say it was like an impressive win over Penn State, but it was just a much needed win. And Nebraska's just got to keep going because, I mean, it's an easier schedule as, the season's winding down, the regular season. We knew it was going to be an easier schedule. Some of these are kind of trap games, it seems like, but Nebraska keeps getting it done.
Yeah, the first half of offensively on Saturday, it was really what you would have expected for Nebraska. They looked like a team that had not played the past week. They struggled shooting the ball outside right out the gate, and that kind of stayed with them throughout the whole game. They improved a little bit in the second half, which really helped them pull out this win. But what really kept them in it from start to finish was just their defensive performance.
Yeah.
Holding Penn State to 49 points. That's the lowest amount they've held a Big Ten opponent to all season. And yeah, it was just a great game defensively. And it really shows you that while, yes, it's Penn State, a team that's towards the bottom of the Big Ten, it is a team that's quite similar to the rest of the teams they're playing throughout the regular season. And to see them go out on a game where they only hit 4 3-pointers, shoot 4 of 21 from behind the arc, it's their defense and their ability to score points in the paint that really gets them that win.
Yeah, Nebraska, ugly first half. Might have been the ugliest first half of basketball, or even just the ugliest half in general that we've seen so far this season for Nebraska. And there's been some ugly ones. You want to talk about the second half of Minnesota, the whole Rutgers game. It's up, like it might top all of those. But the fact that it was such an ugly first half, but Nebraska still led. That was due to their defense. We knew Penn State coming in they're kind of the complete opposite of Michigan. Michigan has a pretty good offense. Their defense is in shambles. Penn State has a pretty good defense. Their offense just doesn't have any kind of a spark. So it wasn't surprising Nebraska's offense came out flat to start. Like you said, they were off for a week. The last time Nebraska had a week off, they had to play Creighton at home and then Minnesota on the road. Nebraska lost both of those. So it was kind of expected they come out slow. I wasn't expecting it to be that slow. It was honestly kind of ugly to watch, but we all still watched it. Nebraska was able to take the lead into halftime, 28-22. I mean, they only held Penn State to 22 points in the first half. Like that is, I don't care what team in the Big Ten that is. If you're holding them to 22 points, that's a pretty good performance.
Yeah, it was just really dominant. Nebraska really dominated on certain stretches throughout the game. Penn State they had at least 3, maybe 4 multiple 2-minute plus droughts throughout the game, including once in the second half where they went nearly 4 minutes without a point. And that's really where Nebraska was able to capitalize there. They played great defense. Obviously, Penn State, not known for their offense, not especially without Kanye Clary, who is off the team now. That came by a surprise today. A Big Ten power rankings. Gonna need someone new to talk about when I'm covering the Nittany Lions. But
yeah,
what happened with him? Sorry, I missed that.
It was weird. I don't know exactly. He was injured a couple games before and was coming off the bench, but he didn't travel to Nebraska for this game. And Mike Rhodes, Penn State's coach, was asked about it post game, and he gave like a very very vague answer. He was just like, yeah, he just wasn't ready to go today. Like something around that. He didn't go into specifics with that. So definitely something to monitor going forward.
Yeah, it's interesting. But like you said, Penn State was it just last year when Penn State made a run in the Big Ten tournament?
Yeah.
And then made a run in the NCAA. Yeah, that was just last year. I'm not like, it's
completely different team though.
I know. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. I'm not saying that they were supposed to do that again this year, but like, it's just the fact that, I don't know, even though they lost a lot of their talent, it's still like, man, Penn State played really good last year. You think they'd, at least be maybe a middling team in the Big Ten. They're one of the bottom teams in the Big Ten.
Yeah, but then they were playing good at that moment. They went on a 3-game win streak. Then they lost their last 2 games before Nebraska, but those were games against Northwestern and Michigan State, 2 of the better teams in the Big Ten. And even then, they managed to lose only by single digits. So to really lose by 19 and only put up 49 points against Nebraska was very surprising.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of expected it to be a grinded out kind of a game just because, like you said, the week off, Penn State has a really good defense. So I wasn't surprised. Like I said, the thing I was looking at heading into this game was the turnovers. Nebraska only committed 13 turnovers. Well, that's maybe a few more than you want. Against a team like Penn State, that's okay. I'm okay. I'll take Nebraska should take 13 turnovers against Penn State, who's one of the best in the nation at forcing turnovers. You'll take 13 any day because Nebraska has struggled with turnovers this season.
Yeah, Penn State, I think, averages 16 a game.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah, 13. They won the turnover battle, Penn State.
Yeah, they won it barely.
They turned it over 14 times, but yeah, it was
a win's a win.
Yeah, yep. But Nebraska 15 points off the turnovers. Penn State only had 10, so weren't able to do much after the Nebraska giveaways. But yeah, I think really what switched in the second half was there was some sort of offense that showed up, and a lot of it came in the paint. And I think that is very vital for this Nebraska team going forward. Coach Hoiberg said in his post-game interview, when you shoot 4 of 21 from 3 and win by 19, that is a good sign for this team.
Yeah, 19%. It was just an ugly. The Penn State shot 21. Nebraska shot 19%. And
Keisei Tominaga had 3 out of the 4 3-pointers. He was the only.
He was the only guy
really doing anything.
Yeah. Combined, they're like, what was the entire rest of the team? He was 3 of 8, so the rest of the team was 1 of 13. If the math is mathing, 1 of 13, yeah, that's not too good. Who's the other guy that hit the 3? Oh,
Mass. He hit a nice transition 3.
Yeah,
there.
I remember that. But yeah, good win for Nebraska. Needed win. Penn State, I feel like they're like, even though they may be one of the bottom teams of Big Ten, it's still a Big Ten team, a conference win. Nebraska couldn't really afford to lose this one. Nebraska, in my opinion, kind of has to stay undefeated the rest of the way at home. It's these road games coming up, the 3 road games against Indiana, Ohio State, and Michigan. Nebraska needs to get 2 of those. And me and Joseph are probably going to we'll preview the Indiana game more tomorrow, so we don't really want to go much into that. But I kind of want to get your guys' thoughts on. Whoa, I just moved my mic. I kind of want to get you guys' thoughts on what do you feel like? I know I kind of asked this in the past, but what do you feel like Nebraska needs to do down the stretch to kind of secure their bid in the NCAA tournament?
I've been saying a long time. I can't talk. 5 games left. I think they need to win 4 out of those 5. I
agree.
And I think they can afford to lose a road game. They cannot afford any home losses. Those would be seen as a bad loss. And Ohio State just beat just beat Purdue.
Yeah.
At home the other day, pretty much cementing that matchup on Leap Day to be a quad 1 road opportunity for Nebraska.
And
if they win that game,
I mean, yeah, I think what I saw, Nebraska's beaten. If they beat Ohio State, it'll be their 4th quad 1 win of the season. Nebraska, obviously, Wisconsin, Purdue, the Michigan State win, that was a quad 1 win, and then Ohio State would be a quad 1 win. I don't know how Ohio State's a quad 1 win. Seems like it should be a quad 2, but according to metrics, it's a quad 1 game. They're a quad 1 opponent. So I don't care if it makes the resume look better for Nebraska. Nebraska shouldn't care either. Nebraska should be able to take care of business against Ohio State. If I was going to say, I think Indiana is probably going to be the tougher opponent, maybe on the road. What do you think?
I think Ohio State, especially after the Purdue game, you kind of see like they're a team that's really playing with nothing to lose. Obviously, fired Chris Holtman. Mark Delber is the new interim head coach right now. And then they still have talent. They have Bruce Thornton, who had an amazing game against Purdue, 22 points, came up big down the stretch. They got guys like Jamison Battle, Roddy Gale. They have the talent, and they've showed that they can defend home court against the team, against the number 2 team in the country, against a team that hadn't lost since the Nebraska game. It was looking like they were going to run their way through the rest of the regular season. So I think that Indiana tomorrow is pretty much a must-win game for Nebraska just because of this new momentum that Ohio State has.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. The only reason I would have been more confident about the Ohio State game is just because Mass had such a great game. And I'm not saying he needs to replicate that, but I just feel like Mass, like, there's just no one on Ohio State, in my opinion, that can really stop Mast. I feel like Mast will have another really strong game. Alex been bringing the energy these past few games. I think Nebraska's bigger lineup against Ohio State. I'm feeling confident about that game. Indiana won. It just, for whatever reason, it just feels like a trap game because Nebraska had a huge losing streak before they beat them at home this season. Are they going to get 2 in a row against Indiana? I mean, you never know. Indiana, I know they're not a great team this year, but it's still just, that one feels like the biggest trap game the rest of the way. It is, and I can't point to any metric or anything of why it feels that way for me. It just does. Indiana played Nebraska pretty close in that first half. Nebraska kind of pulled away towards the second half in that home game, but then again, that was a while ago. So it's going to be kind of a completely different Nebraska team and a completely different Indiana team when they face on Wednesday. But with that, let's kind of move to the women's side of things. Nebraska did not have a great game against Ohio State in their last game. Coming up tomorrow, they're going to have Northwestern at home. And Nebraska seems like a team that, if the season were to end right now, they'd be an NCAA tournament team.
Yeah, if it ended today, they'll probably be around that 8, maybe 7 seed line.
Kind of similar to the men's team.
Yep, kind of similar. I feel more confident with the women's team right now as getting a spot in the tournament field, but they're going to have to finish strong throughout the rest of the year, which there's 3 games left in their regular season, and they're all very favorable matchups, playing against teams that they should win, 2 of them at home, then 1 at Illinois the last day of the regular season. But Nebraska had a great game over the weekend against Purdue, beat them for the second time this year, this time on the road, 77-65. Alexis Markowski, 2020.
Yeah. Markowski's been, I was kind of critical of Markowski last year. I think I might have said this before on an earlier day of the show, but it just felt like when Markowski went against post players that were like to her caliber, she would kind of underperform a little bit. You can tell that Markowski's is so much more comfortable in the post on offense. We knew what Markowski can do on defense. Like, she can play both ways. She's the reason, like, she's the star player on Nebraska's team for a reason. But it was kind of the offensive game when she's going against, the talented bigs in the Big Ten Conference. And when they get into the NCAA tournament, there's a lot of talented bigs in college basketball for women's. Can she compete against them? It kind of felt like last year she kind of only had like 2-3 post moves, and if those didn't work, she kind of just throw it up. She feels a lot more confident this year, and you can just tell the growth from her freshman year, sophomore year, now to her junior year.
Yeah, she's just been getting better and better year by year, and it's just all really shown in this year. She's having an amazing year, averaging 16 a game, nearly 11 rebounds.
Averaging a double-double.
Yeah. I think while Jez Shelley has, obviously, reigning player of the week, has had her an amazing game against Iowa, I think Markowski has been the Huskers' best player so far this year.
Oh, yeah.
Through and through. Another player who I've really liked, especially as of late, she got her first career start this weekend against Purdue. Logan Nisley. She's a freshman guard. She had 18 points, tied a career high. And yeah, she's just another person that's getting better as the year goes on. She had a great game against Iowa, 15.7 rebounds off the bench. She's just really seeing her playing time grow along with just her play style. And I think that she'll be a mainstay for the rest of the season in the starting lineup. They're starting Kendall Moriarty right now. Obviously, she offers great defense. They moved Darian White to the bench this past game. Not quite sure about that. She had 0 points. Only 1 assist, but she did have 3 fouls, so in foul trouble. Didn't really get the chance to really get going when you have 3 fouls in a game, playing very limited at that point. So it'd be very interesting going forward if they keep her on that bench role or move her back into the starting lineup, but you're going to have to take someone out then.
Yeah, Nebraska's opponent tomorrow, again, Northwestern. Northwestern, one of the bottom teams in the Big Ten, just 8-17 overall, 3-11 in the conference. They're 2-8 on the road. Not a great Northwestern team. This seems like a game Nebraska should be able to get. And Nebraska this season has been really good at taking care of business. Nebraska maybe hasn't gotten a lot of those top wins, outside of the Iowa victory. they've kind of against kind of the top teams they've gone against. Nebraska's kind of not played as well, but Nebraska's taking care of business. Every game, it feels like Nebraska should have won, have won. Outside of maybe that Rutgers game, I think that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah. So outside of that one, Nebraska's done really good. You know, every team has a bad loss. So they've done really good at taking care of business. Nebraska should be able to beat Northwestern this week. Tomorrow, what do you guys think Nebraska's going to beat Northwestern tomorrow?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, just basically what you said. I think that they've showed that they can take care of business and get those wins that they need to. And unlike the men's team, I don't think they struggle as much on the road, obviously, and they're just a little bit more reliable in that aspect. But yeah, I'm pretty sure, or I can see Murkowski like having another big night, and yeah, I think they're going to do well against Northwestern.
Yeah, I think the same. I think obviously the Ohio State game was a little bit of a setback, but you're playing the number 2 team in the country.
Yeah, Ohio State's so good.
Yeah, and not having the luxury of doing it on your home court like against Iowa. Really had a nice bounce back game against Purdue. And again, there's players that step up alongside Markowski and Shelley every night. It was Nisley last game. Wouldn't be surprised if someone like Natalie Potts or maybe even someone like Jessica Petrie off the bench. It seems like they have really nice depth on this team. I mean, Kendall Cooley played 17 minutes, most playing time she's seen in a long time against Purdue the other day, had 6 points. So 3 assists as well. So everybody has a chance to contribute on this team. And you're going to have Shelley and Markowski always getting their 10, 15 points.
Yep.
But then you're also going to have at least 1 or 2 other players step up with them.
Yeah, and the nice thing is you kind of never know who that third person is going to be for Nebraska. So it's kind of hard to scheme against that. You know, Shelley and Markowski are the top people. I've kind of said who's going to step up as a third person. It's kind of just been a different person every night. So it's been really fun to watch this team. We'll have to see how they play tomorrow. With that, we have to throw it to break. When we come back next segment, we're gonna recap baseball and softball for Nebraska this past weekend. Baseball, after getting a big win against Baylor, kind of struggled. Softball, though, had a pretty good weekend. So we'll cover that and more right here on the Daily Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
John Henry's has a brand new membership club to protect your entire home in one program. With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Are you searching for a helping hand in life? Look no further. Integrated Behavioral Health Services is your answer. They're your compassionate, trusted partners committed to guiding you from challenges to triumphs. Their licensed professionals offer personalized therapy for individuals, couples, and families. At IBHS, the focus is you. Experience a life-changing transformation in an environment tailored to your unique needs. Visit ibhealthservices.com today and take that first step towards a brighter future. Discover the power of healing with Integrated Behavioral Health Services. You're not alone. Let them walk this journey with you.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Unearth the secret to long-lasting tires at Tread's Central Tire Pros, a league apart in commitment, service, and expertise. This isn't just about rubber meeting the road, but trust, safety, and surety converging in perfect harmony. This is where expectations are exceeded every time. Make your appointment today at Tread Central Tire Pros, just south of Cortland on Highway 77, or visit our website to explore our services. Remember, when it comes to tires, choose Tread Central Tire Pros because we tread differently.
Healing the heart takes heart. Our dedicated team of cardiac experts is here for you with breakthrough treatments for serious conditions and expert advice for living longer with a healthier heart. We bring healing care to our community with over 90 cardiology specialists and subspecialists and more than 50 locations across Nebraska, Southwest Iowa, and northern Kansas. Find out how we heal hearts with heart, starting with yours at chihealth.com/heart.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppel Chevrolet GMC, and we have some really big savings for you right now. Our new crossover sale is underway. New Terrains, Equinoxes, and Trailblazers starting at $23,290. That's right, $23,290. Also, we've continued our huge Sierra and Silverado truck sale with over $10,000 off new pickups. You heard right, over $10,000 off list. Coppel truly has a small town feel with big city deals. We're right down 144th Street or at CoppelCars.com. Stock numbers G260980 and C119824.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
If your home isn't delivering the year-round comfort you expect, call the experts at Bryant. Warm and cool, comfort and confidence. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Call 467-1111.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
We're speaking to Husker baseball assistant Lance Harvell.
Seemed like there was a pretty heavy focus on the JUCO ranks this offseason. What went into the decision behind that approach?
There's something about junior college baseball. You know, if you've been through it, you know that life, what it's about. You number one, you got to have passion to play baseball. You gotta grind. These guys are tough. They're playing double headers, every time out. So you know kind of what you're getting.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello and welcome back into the Daily Nebraskan show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Ben, Anthony, and Marissa still here with you. This segment we're going to be touching on Husker baseball and softball. We can kind of touch on baseball first. Baseball kind of had a rough week. Again, Nebraska had a great opening win against Baylor. That was on Friday. Yep. Friday. Beat them 4-1, pulled away late in that game. But then on Saturday and Sunday, Nebraska lost to number 21, Texas Tech 6-3, and then lost a heartbreaker to Oklahoma 7-6. Anthony, can you kind of touch on? I kind of want to first touch on the Oklahoma game. We could touch on Texas Tech a little bit later, but that Oklahoma game, that one was the heartbreaker.
I mean, yeah, both of them were rough, ninth inning losses. But yeah, the Oklahoma game was a game that Nebraska really should have won. They were 2 outs away, or they were not 2 outs away. They were 1 out away from ending it there, ending it with a 1-run lead, giving up 2 runs at the end of the bottom of the 9th inning, losing in walk-off fashion. Very unfortunate there. Just tough way to go out, especially in the Shriners College Showdown at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. This big, grand MLB stadium. Losing 2 very heartbreaking games. But overall on the weekend, I'm not too worried about Nebraska going forward. The main problem with them, obviously, when you look at just these late inning collapses, has been the bullpen so far. The starters have done all right. It's just the guys in the bullpen who's coming in after that. Some of the guys have struggled there. But the rest of the team, I think, has done very well, a lot better than they started last year. Last year, they started 0-4 or like 0-3-1 to San Diego, a team that really didn't have the year that Nebraska thought they were going to have when scheduling them. They had a very, very mediocre year, and the losses just looked very bad come NCAA tournament time, which is why part of the reason why they didn't make the tournament last year or make a regional, because of their struggles in midweek play and non-conference play, stuff like that. But overall, I think this team, yes, those 2 losses sting, but I think they'll be able to bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, for Husker fans though, Nebraska kind of stuck in this moment because those were just like after a great win against Baylor. I don't know if I'm maybe overblowing that one. After a pretty solid win against Baylor, you have a chance to beat Texas Tech, a ranked team, aren't able to quite get that done. Okay, Texas Tech is a really good team, not that big of a deal. The Oklahoma one, that was the one that stung for me because they just, like you said, they just should have won that game. I kind of want to get like, do you feel like do you think the pitching struggles is just because the talent's not there, or is it because it's early season and as they get, middle of the season, towards the end of the season, that Nebraska's pitching should be fine, or do you think it's a talent thing?
I think it's definitely an early season issue. I mean, pitching remained a struggle throughout all of last year for Nebraska. They assessed that by bringing in Rob Childress as a pitching coach. They also brought in a lot of new arms. I know Avery Peck did a article for the DN going over the 7 freshman pitchers on Nebraska's roster.
Yeah.
One of them, Tucker Timmerman, has played a lot so far. He's played in 2 appearances. He's looked great. He got the win against Baylor. So he's been a very nice arm already, freshman out of Beatrice. But yeah, it's early on, and a lot of these guys aren't quite where they're at right now. They're not obviously in midseason form yet.
Yeah.
I know Drew Christo is a guy that Nebraska has high hopes for going into this year to eventually be one of these guys that is a starter on these weekend games and these weekend series. He struggled in relief against Oklahoma, pitched 2 innings, allowed 2 runs. Kyle Perry was another guy who has struggled, and he's, I think, a 6th-year guy now. He's been at Nebraska for a while. But yeah, I think there's a lot of turnaround. Obviously, without Emmett Olson, Jace Kaminska, and then Shea Shanneman, who was by far their best reliever all of last year. He graduated, so it will definitely take a while for these guys to find their footing, but I expect it to happen.
So I kind of want to now move into the hitting. Nebraska only had 7 hits against Oklahoma, but held the lead late until a collapse. What have kind of been your first impressions of Nebraska's hitting so far to start the season?
Yeah, against Baylor, it was a little bit of a struggle early on. The first 6 innings, they were held hitless. Then they were able to get some towards the end. Obviously broke free, won the game. But yeah, I think, again, a lot of this has came from new guys. Joshua Overbeek, the JUCO transfer, who's now starting at third base. He had a great week, great weekend. He's batting .417 on the season so far in those 3 games, 2 RBIs, 5 hits. Riley Silva is another guy, another transfer, batting .364. He's got 4 hits. He's doing it on the bases too. He's using his speed. He stole 2 bases this past weekend. And then you have guys like Garrett Anglam, who I think is really an X factor for Nebraska this year. He was a guy at this time last year, may have been the best hitter on the team. And that's saying something when you have guys like Max Anderson and Bryce Matthews. But then injuries really kind of derailed his year. He was never able to get quite back to where he was at the start of the year when he was back in the lineup towards the end of the year. But his first at-bat of the season against Baylor, it's a pinch hit home run. And he really just kept that going for the rest of this week. Had a solid game. So, yeah, there's a lot of new faces, but also a lot of returning guys that I think could really be one of the better hitting teams in the Big Ten.
Yeah, that Nebraska fans are going to have to hold on to that hope. But coming up, Nebraska has 4 games against the Grand Canyon. I'm not reading that wrong. 4?
Yeah.
Wow. Nebraska will know
series.
Grand Canyon by then. And then they play College of Charleston 4 games in a row. Yeah, beginning of the season scheduling, I don't really like that they just play the same team over and over and over. I'm okay with back to back, like playing the same team twice in a row, but like 4.
Yeah, it's so tough just because of like being a Big Ten team. Obviously, on days like today, you can play a baseball game outside, but
yeah,
last Friday you cannot. So it's hard to schedule games. Obviously, they won't play their first Big Ten game till March 8th against South Alabama, which 3-game series there. But yeah, Grand Canyon is a team that is 3-0 on the year. They've beat Georgetown, USC, and BYU this first week. Playing Ohio State tomorrow. Just a standalone matchup. Again, very weird. How you play 4 games against Nebraska, but only 1 against Ohio State.
I don't get scheduling.
But
beginning of
yeah,
the year.
it's going to be a very intriguing series. I don't think Nebraska is going to win all 4 of these games, but I would expect them to win at least 2, maybe even 3. It should be a very competitive weekend.
Yeah, all those games are going to be on ESPN Plus, so that's kind of interesting, in my opinion. Foil baseball is kind of, I feel like they've kind of been the main people that are going to be covering. Like, they're usually the ones that cover all the beginning of the game. So it's kind of interesting to me that ESPN Plus is doing the games for Grand Canyon. But with that, let's kind of flip over to the softball side of things. Nebraska, unlike their men's counterpart, softball, after losing their first 2 games against ranked opponents, number 7 Washington and number 11 Duke, Nebraska has won 6 out of their last 7. And their only loss was in a shutout when they were shut out by New Mexico State 3-0. So they've won 6 out of their last 7. Nebraska's really bounced back since the Jordy Ball injury. Like I said, I mean, those first 2 games, those are such hard games to start the season with 2 ranked opponents. Nebraska's really gotten back on its feet. And this is why everyone was so excited. Jordy Ball, yes, was a huge part of that. But the big reason that this team was so hyped this year was yes, Jordy Ball, but Nebraska's returning a lot of talent this year. Nebraska's hitting lineup. The only person that left really from the hitting lineup was Maya Felder, who was a senior graduated. Courtney Wallace was in the lineup a little bit. But other than that, Nebraska is kind of holding the same team as last year. And the team last year made a run at the Big Ten title. This is a good Nebraska team. They were ranked not just because Jordy Ball was on the team. It's because Nebraska's got a solid team from top to bottom. I think depth is going to be an issue this season, not only pitching, but all crossed, because they've been hit with the injury bug. It's been really unfortunate for softball, but I've been pretty pleased with how Nebraska started. I kind of want to get your guys' thoughts. What have you guys liked from the softball team so far?
Yeah. I don't want to say pleasantly surprised. It's probably not the right wording, but it is, I guess, good to see how the softball team has bounced back, especially for Jordy Ball. But of course, one player doesn't make the team, and like you were saying, they have a very similar team than what they've had, and of course they've been successful. But I think something else that was interesting, that on Sunday was their 4th straight game, and they came back from behind in all of those 4 wins. And I think that just kind of shows the resilience, and both metaphorically, season wise, yeah, we're down our best pitcher, but we're still gonna come back from that. And then also in the game, they obviously already have that team dynamic and team synergy that can kind of boost them to win.
Anthony, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, really all what Marissa said. It was really cool seeing this team being able to just, fight this adversity that they might have dug themselves into those holes, but they were able to get themselves out of it. And along with obviously just the hitting, the pitching, I thought was very good down the stretch. 2 freshmen, Emerson Cope and Caitlin Olensky, obviously really now have to step up even more with the absence of Ball. And I think they've been very well so far. Kind of had their struggles the first weekend, but I think they were very good this past weekend.
Yeah, pitching was kind of something that I wasn't really caring as much about, wins or losses at the beginning of the season. It's early season. Yes, Nebraska wants to win them, but I kind of try to look at it more with the Jordy Ball injury, what's Ravel's plan now with pitching? Because it seems like for the longest time, Ravel's always had a star pitcher or 2 star pitchers. Courtney Wallace, Jordy Ball this year. You can go back further. This year, with no Jordy Ball, there's not really a star caliber pitcher on the team. So I was kind of interested because in the past, Ravel's really had a 1A and a 1B. Last year was Courtney Wallace, and then Sarah Harness was kind of the 1B to that. This year, Kaylin Kinney, who coming off injury from last year into this game, she's already pitched in 5 games. She's 3-2. I'm intrigued that she's gotten the majority of the work, because outside of that, she's had 5 games. Everyone else, Emerson Cope, she has the 1 win. Kaylin has the 1 win, and then Sarah Harness has 1. Like, they've all only really gotten like credited for 1 actual like start for the win or loss. So, and Kaylin Kinney has had 5. So I'm kind of intrigued. Is Kinney going to be the quote unquote like top pitcher for Nebraska? Or do you guys think it's going to be more of like, she's just going to be rotating names, seeing what works, what doesn't?
I feel like kind of in the beginning I could see her rotating a little bit to just figure some things out. I mean, I can't imagine the pressure like that the 2 like freshmen are feeling.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they
Mhm.
probably did not expect to,
No.
be starting pitching this early in the season or at all. So I think just getting reps for them is going to be key, and just getting them into those higher pressure games and stuff like that. But also, allowing everyone to kind of shine, and then eventually figure out who could be their starting pitcher.
Anthony, what do you think about the pitching for softball?
Yeah, I think the same. Right now, early season, kind of just getting a feel for things, seeing who's really doing, who does well, who can carry the load that ball
Yeah.
was going to do this year. But I mean, obviously, Kaylin Kinney injured last year early in the
Mhm.
season, but she was looking great so far that year. She had an ERA of 0.84.
Small sample size.
Small sample size, yes.
Mhm.
Very small sample size. But I mean, she's already eclipsed her innings pitched output from last year, this year. But I think that shows that, I mean, she's been with the program for 4 years now, pitching, and she looks as of right now, she looks like she's healthy from the injury. She's able to, be the pitcher for most of these games. So I think right now you're just going to have her kind of be out, have it set the pace, set the tone. And if somebody like Emerson Cope or Kaylin Orlinsky, one of the freshmen, or Sarah Harness even, if they start to pick it up a bit, come into their own, start improving, I could definitely see some changes being there.
I'm kind of surprised by how much run Kinney's already getting to start the year. I thought Harness would get a lot more work, just because Harness was such a big part of the team last year. Like, when Kinney went down, it was kind of like, okay, Harness, you're going to have to really you're going to have to be the other person, because Courtney Wallace, however, she was awesome. One person can only do so much on the mound. Nebraska needed somebody else. Ravel was really heavily relying on Harness. She was pretty inconsistent last year. She had some really strong games last year, but there were some games where she really struggled as well. She was pretty inconsistent. I was kind of thinking, though, with, whole off season, early season, Ravel would kind of want to be putting her in more, but she hasn't gotten that much run. She's getting almost as much run as the freshman. So that's kind of interesting to me, because Kinney seems, I mean, I know it's really early in the season, but Kinney kind of seems like the main person, and everyone else is kind of like just rotating. That's kind of interesting to me. For the bats, though, Nebraska, outside of, they scored 7 against Long Beach, 15 against Montana, but Nebraska's hits have been pretty consistent. They've been getting like 4 to 5 runs each game. Nebraska's hitting's been pretty solid, to start the year. Usually the hits aren't great to start the year. Nebraska, in their first 2 games against the 2 ranked opponents, only had 1 run. They were outscored 1-14 against Washington and Duke. But Nebraska's really stepped it up after that. Have you guys been impressed with the batting so far for the softball team?
Yeah, I've been impressed with it. I mean, 8 home runs already in the year.
Yeah.
Sydney Gray already has 3. She had an outstanding weekend.
Was she the Big Ten
player of the week in the Big Ten?
Yeah.
She had a pair of 3-run home runs against Sacramento State the other day. And I've been impressed with the bats so far. Obviously, the first week was a little bit off. They weren't quite there yet, but
against really good teams.
Yeah, against really good teams, but against teams like Sacramento State, Montana, New Mexico State, they're really able to bounce back in a big way. And of course, you have people that have been with this team for a while now, Billy Andrews, Brooke Andrews, Ava Breadwell, all these returners that have shown how good they are in the past, and they've shown flashes of that already this year.
Yeah, and I mean, and this is why Husker fans, even though Jordy Ball is out for the year and your slight chances of being a national championship contender are now gone without Ball, Nebraska's still a good team. Like, this is still a team that's going to be one of the top 10s in the Big Ten, one of the top teams in the Big Ten, going to try to get to the NCAA tournament. It's going to be, I think they're going to be fun to watch. Even without Ball, Nebraska, they sold a lot of season tickets. Some people might be regretting those on the Ball's out, but this is a fun team to watch. I had a lot of fun covering them last year. They're going to be a lot of fun to watch this year. I'm intrigued by both baseball and softball. I think they're both going to have pretty solid years. I think they're both kind of be on the bubble to try to get into the tournament. It's going to be interesting what happens moving forward when they get into actual Big Ten play, but that's so far away from now. Both teams have so many games until they get in the Big Ten to even start kind of talking about the NCAA tournament. It's very early in the season. But with that, we have to throw it to break. When we come back, we're going to recap the rest of Husker sports, the Olympic sports talk, wrestling, tennis, swim and dive, gymnastics, all and that and more is coming up next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Alcohol has strained our relationship. Drinking too much can cause harm to friends, family members, and loved ones. By drinking less, we will save our relationship. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
At Southeast Community College, community is our middle name. Our continuing education classes offer personal interest, traffic safety and licensing, online learning, and adult education classes across Southeast Nebraska or online in your own home. Learn pottery or floral design. Take a computer course. Learn Spanish, how to start writing a book, or Air Fryer 101. See the full schedule of continuing education classes online at southeast.edu/continuing. SCC, your path to possible.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Ironhide Construction is hiring. They're looking for hardworking, self-motivated individuals who are team players. Ironhide Construction has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com, where they're committed to you every step of the way. Bagels and Joe is the best place to start off your mornings, and you can order your breakfast ahead of time on their app. February's cream cheese flavor is white chocolate raspberry. Pair it with a very berry chai. Stop by any of their 4 locations in Lincoln and their location in Seward. Bagels and Joe.
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet. O Street Carpet. 1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to the Daily Nebraskan Show. One last segment here before we wrap it up and call it a night. Ben, Anthony, Marissa, still here with you. We're going to wrap up the show with the Olympic sports talk for Huskers. We're going to kind of recap all the other sports, touched on basketball, both men's and women's, baseball, softball. Now we're going to touch on other ones. First one I want to talk about is rifle. Rifle went 1-1 over the weekend, beat number 12 ranked Akron, but then lost to Ohio State. The Ohio State games, those are always intrigue me for rifle because it feels like Ohio State and Nebraska is kind of a rivalry there because there's not too many Big Ten teams for rifle. These are kind of these are the two best Big Ten teams for rifle. So they always kind of have a rivalry. I'm always interested by their games.
Have you ever watched them in person?
A little bit.
A
little bit. It's hard to watch them
Yeah.
live.
I'm sure. It looks interesting. I'd like to.
When I did the feature on Cecilia OC last year, I watched some of my clips of her, and it like rifle. It's really interesting to me because I'm a hunter, so rifle is like completely. It's way different than that, but it's still like some of the same like thought processes when you think of what rifle actually is. But Ohio State, like I remember when I was writing recaps last year for it, Ohio State, the Ohio State Nebraska game was always close, so that was interesting for me. Moving on, men's gymnastics beat number 10 ranked Greenville 413-396. And then they also got a win over number 11 ranked Army 413-394. So men's gymnastics had a pretty good weekend. Women's gymnastics beat number 23 ranked Penn State by 197-196. So great week for gymnastics. They went 4-0, both men's and women's. So good weekend for them. Moving on to more than women's golf finished 11th in their competition in the Spartan Sun Coastal Invitational. So not the best performance for women's golf. And then finally, wrestling, number 3 ranked Nebraska against the top ranked team in the nation, Penn State, number 1. They lost 22-13. I kind of want to get you guys' thoughts on that because wrestling's been kind of bringing a lot of attention. Polar Bears on the team now. Been football, social media has been covering it a lot. So I feel like there's kind of a lot more hype around the wrestling team this year than there has been in the past. But this was definitely a game that Husker fans are just really hoping they can get to kind of solidify Nebraska as maybe the top team in the nation. Fell short, though. What are your guys' thoughts on for wrestling?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was a valiant effort on Nebraska's part. Got out to an early 10-3 lead. Weren't able to sustain that the rest of the matches, rest of the bouts. Obviously, Hutmacher had a rough day facing number 1 ranked Greg Kirkvale. Don't know
Tough
if I
name.
said it right, but it shows a lot just in how dominant Penn State is. I mean,
they're so good.
They had 1, 2, 5 number 1 ranked wrestlers in this bout, in this duel. Just insane. I think obviously Nebraska would have wanted to pull off an upset here. We want to get to win, but they were very competitive throughout.
Yeah, you can go.
I was just gonna say, like, I was kind of like watching the progress, and when I saw that Nebraska was like ahead for a while, it was like super exciting. And so to be able to just maybe not totally keep up, but to
They were there for a
match
while.
them, they were
Yeah.
there. That was really exciting to see, and I love watching Husker wrestling. I've tried to go to a couple home meets and stuff, and they're just fun to watch. Especially Ridge Lovett, who I think he's still undefeated. Yeah, he's just insanely good, and unfortunately, it wasn't enough this weekend. But looking forward to the rest of the season.
Should never feel bad about losing to the top team in the nation, but for the wrestling team, they feel like they are the top team in the nation. So that's why it was kind of disappointing for them. But yeah, wrestling, it's just like, while there's maybe not as many fans there as, like volleyball or basketball, it's a fun environment to be at the wrestling games. When I went to a bunch of them because I was covering for Husker Vision for the Big Ten. Their wrestling, it was fun to be at those wrestling meets. Nebraska's wrestling team is so good. They're way better this year than they were last year. Even I had a lot of fun watching them last year. So definitely fun to watch Nebraska. Make sure to go and watch some other meets. Nebraska's schedule should get easier than playing the top team in the nation. So Nebraska should be able to pick up more wins. But as much as I want to dog on Penn State's basketball team for men's, their wrestling team is so good. So not an unexpected result, but definitely was hoping for a better result for wrestling, but they're going to have plenty of chances to rebound this season. But with that, we're going to have to wrap up the show. Thank you for listening to the Daily Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Bagels & Joe is the best place to start off your mornings, and you can order your breakfast ahead of time on their app. February's cream cheese flavor is white chocolate raspberry. Pair it with a very